But the game right now is at the plate. High fly ball into right field. She is gone. In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Only Friends podcast. Very sad day today in the baseball world. Vin Scully has passed at the ripe young age of 96, I believe.
94. 94. Yep.
67 years as a broadcaster. He did MLB for the Dodgers. He did the NFL. He actually was the catch, or he did the call for the catch when Dwight Clark had that game winner in the end zone. He also did the PGA. Just a legend in his time, in his craft. One of the greatest to ever do it. Just retired in 2016.
You know, he was an announcer for baseball before television was invented.
That's not that shocking.
I mean,
it's shocking that he still did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
he only retired a few years ago.
That's what I'm saying. He retired in 2016, so
Right.
it's shocking that he was still a modern day announcer.
He was around that long. Right?
Yeah. But yeah, baseball was initially very much a radio sport.
Oh, yeah. It still is.
Yeah, to some degree. Yeah. There's something very nostalgic about hearing a game called on the air. We opened with the clip of Gibson hitting the game winner. It's probably a little bit before some of our audience's time. I was young. I think it was the 88 World Series. The Athletics. Yeah, because 89 they played the Giants.
88 World
1889,
Series, huh?
right?
What's that?
1889?
No. 88, 19.
Oh.
You know, the year you were
Melissa.
considered to be conceived. So 4 years
No,
prior.
my parents weren't even married then.
Wow.
Yeah, my brother was born before they got married.
Oh, they were just doing stuff.
My dad was married.
Oh no.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Maybe it was the great Vince Scully's call that got him over
Maybe
the edge.
Vince Scully is my dad.
Well, that would make a lot of sense with your love for baseball
I
and all.
know.
Just,
When was Rudy conceived?
Well, Rudy was born in 2012, so
man.
April of 2012, so he was conceived in 2011.
He's such a good boy.
He's so. How can
Look at
you be so?
I mean, he's
Look
looking
at
really
this-
good in
look at
those
this
shades,
little
that's for sure.
boy
Man,
with
does
the
he wear those
tortoise
well.
shades. He's a little excited.
I feel cheated.
Look at him.
I feel cheated. This is not the general behavior of Rudy.
That's because
I've only seen him like this.
yeah, because he's like at his best when he's just around a bunch of people. He doesn't really like to be around other dogs. They annoy him.
Right.
He gets on edge. He thinks
Yeah.
they're gonna take his food.
Your dog's an asshole.
Oh, man.
Look at him.
He's sweet. He's sweet. He's a
look at this
lovable
little
pup.
How can you say that about
No,
that
he-
beautiful
Oh,
creature?
he's having a little yawn.
This is how much Rudy cares what you think, Berkey.
He's a
yeah,
lovable
he's like,
pup.
who's this old guy just
Yeah.
talking shit about me?
He's absolutely
He's
a
like,
lovable
your dog's
pup.
an asshole, and he just...
But your dog is an absolute asshole.
He's not. He's
Yes.
so cute.
He steals rocks from my backyard to hide in your room and guard with his life.
That's what dogs
He
do.
shouts at my senior dog, Gatsby.
They're both the same age.
I understand, but they're up there. It's just like watching an episode or watching the movie
They
Grumpy
shout
Old
at
Men.
each other and their tails wag when they're doing it.
Listen, Gatsby doesn't shout back until he can't take anymore. It's honestly the movie Grumpy Old Men, where he's Walter Matthau, just
don't know what this
the
is.
long-faced old grumpy dude who's yelling at Jack Lemmon all the time.
Doesn't Scout literally bark at everything?
Yes.
No,
Literally
no.
everything.
Yes.
Listen, Scout is the alarm
He
system for the
screeches
house.
at
Yes,
everything.
that is true.
The dogs
But
can't have a moment of fun without
that's
Scout
because of
going
Rudy.
off. No.
It's because
Don't blame
he
Rudy for
is
that.
always shouting at Gatsby, who she protects with her absolute
No,
life.
because even when dogs start
This
playing,
is Rudy. This is Rudy picking on Gatsby, swinging him around the play yard by his tail.
Oh,
Poor Gatsby.
oh man.
Look, before Rudy moved in, I had 2 peaceful animals.
No.
They
No,
didn't
he's
shout.
so delusional.
He's so delusional.
Like I've known those dogs before.
Scout
Rudy came along.
Scout would get startled by the door.
Uh-huh.
She hates the pool guy.
Little, have you ever
obviously.
taken her for a walk? If she sees one person, anything, she just barks. It could be a leaf rolling in the
No,
wind.
no,
Thank
no,
you,
no. It's
Brian.
only dogs and humans, and more so dogs than humans.
For what
So
it's worth,
everyone.
I love both those dogs. I don't hate them because of their faults. Like you do
They
with
do have
our
faults.
Gatsby has 0 faults, and you know that.
Gatsby's farts.
We all feel that way about our
Gatsby
own dogs,
has,
don't we?
Atomic nuclear gas that
Um,
comes out of his ass, and it doesn't
I'm
leave
gonna
the
let you in
room.
a secret.
It doesn't leave the room.
So do you.
No, not like him, and it doesn't leave the room for like
They're protein
an
farts,
hour.
okay?
Gatsby's are protein farts.
Yeah.
You're giving him protein powder.
No, not powder. I feed him.
Yeah, you cute.
Fuck you, Rudy. Fuck you for hamming it up in front of the camera, making me look like the bad guy.
Uh-huh.
You know you're the asshole.
Aw.
He's so cute.
It's really unbearable. This is the best behavior I've ever seen him on in my entire life.
We had a little talk. I said, "Hey,
Sure.
make him look really stupid."
Yeah, sure.
Calling you,
I
a
can't wait till you
dog.
have kids and your kid is somewhere between the bully and the kid who's going to burn the school down, and the parents have a meeting at the PTA and they address it with the principal and they're just like, look, this Schubert kid's got to fucking go.
Because my husband's gonna take my last name.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how the kid became such an asshole. And the principal's going to call you in and he's going to be like, I don't know how to break this to you, but like, your kid.
Or I'll say, how about a check for $300K? I'll
The-
be like, okay.
They're going to say, look, I don't know how to break this to you, but your kid, he's an asshole. And you're going to go, absolutely not.
Not
Look at
mine.
that face. And he's going to be really manipulative by that age. So he's just going to sit there and be like,
That's how I was.
right, exactly.
Yeah. I would
Meanwhile,
get in
he's going to
trouble.
have drugs stuffed up his ass.
Oh. I would get in trouble and the other kid would be like crying and I'd just be like,
he's had it.
I don't recall that happening.
Right, yeah.
I was really evil.
He'll have a degree in gaslighting by the age of 5.
Well, God bless. I hope not. I'm gonna need some therapy before I have children.
I was going to say, you seem to have just accepted this fate pretty easily. Like, yeah,
Well, I hope
we'll
I
deal
just,
with that
you
when it
know,
happens.
I'm just gonna need like what are you laying on over there? That's not a bed.
Yeah, see, the cameras aren't on this.
He
This-
looks so cute
Oh, he
still.
does.
So
Yeah,
Just
he's
laying
fine.
there.
Uh-huh. I
Aw,
don't
little boy.
trust him.
You're just evil. You're like that. You're like that guy from.
There is a knob.
You're like that guy from that Christmas movie with the claymation things, but you're like the evil Iceman.
What?
You know what I'm talking
What
about?
the fuck are you
She's talking about
describing?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Jesus Christ.
And the abominable snowman. You're the abominable snowman in this
First of all,
weird analogy.
you're talking about on the Island of Misfit Toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys represent the Island of
and
Misfit
you're
Toys
the
to me, first of
abominable
all.
Snowman.
I don't think
or,
he's
is, or is he the silver and gold guy?
silver and gold.
He's the ice guy. No, he's the Iceman.
Yeah, it wasn't an abominable snowman. It was something else. But
Jack-
It was
A Mr.
It was
Ice.
an abominable snowman.
Mr. Ice, I think.
Mr.
Yeah.
It was the abominable snowman. Come
No,
on.
it's not a snowman. He's like the evil
The snowman was the
Iceman.
narrator.
That's the snowman, not the abominable.
Oh, okay, my bad. He's a different pedigree.
Mr.
The narrator
Ice. I
is,
think
you know.
it's Mr. Ice.
I can't believe you called it claymation. This was made in like
Whatever.
1976.
You know what
I mean, it was claymation.
Was it?
essentially.
Yes,
I think it was just like
claymation.
clay,
How do you
right?
think they made it?
I don't know.
Animation?
Yeah. if you ever-
Pixar?
It was Pixar. That's how Pixar got started.
Jack Frost was the
Heat miser. The ice
Yeah, Jack-
miser.
yeah. Yeah,
You're
there
the
you
ice
go.
miser.
Right.
Ice Man wasn't the abominable snowman.
And
Where did he
Rudy's-
come from?
Rudy's the cute.
What was the heat
Rudolph.
miser in that story? I don't recall him. I mean, I remember the name. I used to get so amped for Rudolph. I would like.
Oh yeah, that's when you knew it was Christmas time.
Yeah, but
Christmas
like
was
you know,
coming.
you
They
had
would
to,
always like couple weeks.
you had to clear your schedule to watch these fucking things.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you couldn't just, put it on demand.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, 3 weeks after Thanksgiving
Yep.
on Thursday at 8 p.m. on NBC,
Exactly. Yep.
you have 30 minutes to watch Rudolph.
Mm-hmm.
And if you miss it, you miss Christmas.
Get the iconic Eaton Park commercial with the Christmas tree
Yeah.
and the star.
Where the tree bends down.
Yep, bends down and picks up
Guapo's
the star.
gonna find that one on YouTube
that's,
for sure.
That's just pure.
It was an Eaton Park commercial,
Just type in Eaton Park Christmas commercial.
local to Pittsburgh.
That's all you need to do.
But we're describing it perfectly. I'm
Yeah,
telling you that
of
right
course.
now.
And
It was,
then the star goes on top and the whole tree lights
yeah,
up.
yep.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing.
very merry holidays from Eaton
That's
Park.
how you knew it was Christmas season in Pittsburgh. And that commercial came on. That was the
that's
start.
facts. That is facts. I mean, we've derailed at this point. I don't know where to go from here.
There it is.
There
Wait,
we
can you
go.
pull up the
let
ice
that poor
miser?
little star. Right? Look, trying so hard. Sometimes you just,
Oh, now he's on his chair. Now
yeah, he's
he's
looking
on
good.
his chair.
Yep.
Oh, you look so cute.
Fuck you, Rudy.
Like he's so well behaved. He's ready for his.
Oh.
Guapo cut away from that commercial before the whole sentiment.
I know.
The big heartfelt
big
moment.
reveal.
He just
Full
cuts
sentiment.
away. He's
Yeah,
like, no
that's
free
okay.
advertisements for Eaton
Right.
Park.
He's teasing it for Christmas season.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we got to get some emails out to Eaton Park, see if they want to be a sponsor of the show
Yes,
first.
please. A Smiley cookie.
Please
Oh,
sponsor
man.
Imagine
us.
if they just sent Smiley
Or-
cookies here like once a week.
Low key, I'm going to say something maybe like this
don't
will
like
upset some
Smiley.
Yinzers. They're trash.
Yeah, of course they are.
Like,
but
of
it's
all
not
the
about-
sugar cookies I've ever
Right.
eaten in my entire
It's-
life,
of course,
they're
it's
the
not
worst
about-
fucking sugar
No,
cookies.
that's not
Which
true.
ones?
That's not true.
You know, these are a Pittsburgh.
They're
thing?
Pittsburgh
They're
only,
good.
yeah.
They're good.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
stale.
That's how much makes them good.
They're they're always stale.
If they were fresh, no, because if they were like soft and fresh, then
They're
it wouldn't be-
100%.
It wouldn't be an Eaton Park.
They're legitimately 100% stale. Like they make them stale
No,
somehow.
it's just the
I
icing
think
on
part-
top is hard. and
I think part of the making process of the cookie is leave them out in the open for a week before you bag them.
I mean, they got to get that Pittsburgh air in them.
And yes, the icing.
That's like marinating a steak, except you're doing it with
It's they're dry aged cookies
Yeah,
is what they
right,
are.
Exactly. You got
And the
steel
icing-
mill right next door. They got
The icing is like
soot in
painted
there.
on.
When you get that soot in there, you got
The icing is like basically painted on. Like I imagine that they actually just take a glue bottle and ice it with Elmer's glue and then
Man.
put some sprinkles on top.
You're making me hungry. There's no sprinkles. What the fuck?
Whatever, they put the smiley face
Yeah,
on top.
of course. That's the.
They're trash. I wish they weren't.
I'm looking at a photo of the ice miser, and it's like literally indistinguishable from you.
You're the annoying elf with the high pitched voice
That's fine. It's better
that
than
wanted to be a
being-
dentist growing
It's
up.
better to
Charlie
be
in
the
the
ice
box.
miser.
No, that's the elf, right? I was thinking of Charlie in the box.
Oh yeah, the
Nobody
Jack
wants
in the
to-
Box that was a reject.
Yeah, he
That's
was,
Landon.
No, he was Charlie in the box. Nobody wants a
Yeah,
Charlie in the box.
Charlie in the Box was Landon for sure.
Look, that's literally you.
Oh man.
His fucking nose is. I'm more the heat miser than anything.
No, the heat miser is like short and squat. That's not you.
Look at that. I mean, he looks like Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Pull up. Well, I don't remember. It might be Timmy. I don't know. The elf that wanted to be a dentist. That was.
Timmy doesn't like to make. Somebody wait. Timmy.
It seems like a Timmy, but
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I can't believe how good Rudy's being just sitting in his seat.
This is whatever. This
There
is
he
just
is.
more gaslighting that I'm not here for. Yes.
How are we on Christmas characters?
Hermie. Hermie. Thank you, Jess
that one's
Wellman.
Herbie.
cute.
Yeah, he's
like
cute.
toys.
He's an idiot. Go make your toys, dentist.
Yeah.
He's cute.
Oh man, it's gonna be a sad day when Nigel eats.
You just like
eats
have a
Rudy.
weird like fantasy where this happens, and it's just never gonna
How
happen.
big do you think that snake's gonna get?
Look,
He
it's
also-
big enough.
You know
Brian.
what?
Not big enough to eat
It's
the
big
dog.
enough. Okay.
It's not. He
It's-
will.
course
His
not.
full grown. He will eat a guinea pig.
Well, I'll tell you what. Whether he wants to eat you or not, he's gonna try. And
You
one
know
of you
nothing
two's
about
gonna.
reptiles.
One of you two is gonna end up wearing Nigel as a necklace one
You
of
know
these
nothing
days.
about reptiles.
I know that they choke things.
They don't choke things.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
constrict.
constrict.
They constrict
constrict.
until their heart stops. They don't choke them.
What would you call that?
That's not choking. Choking is your windpipe.
Choke their heart out.
I think we're talking semantics now.
Well,
I'm sure if it had the
They
opportunity.
don't choke them to death. They squeeze them to death.
Yes.
Sure, whenever the prey is smaller than them, but I'm sure if they wrap up on a 70-pound
their
dog.
ribs probably
Well,
crash.
no, they don't have any incentive to wrap around a animal they can't eat.
It's true. They do
It's
sometimes.
a waste of energy.
Sometimes they just snap.
Well, they're the devil's serpent.
Well, I'm the ice miser.
The devil. The devil.
Very strong. They're very, very strong animals.
Yeah,
Basically, one long muscle.
they're gross.
Britney Spears
they're
had no
just-
problem with snakes. So,
Yeah.
I mean, how dangerous could they
That
really
was
be?
a boa.
Yeah. It was a boa that was used as a boa.
Yeah, exactly. That was an albino one. I don't know. I mean, I think if you just spent a little time with Nigel, you would really warm up to him.
No.
Warm up to the cold blooded
There's nothing to warm up to. They have no soul. I don't
He
want him
sees
to
you
warm
as a
up to me.
nice
Of course he'll warm up
tree.
to me. He's cold blooded and I'm
sees
fucking
you as a
radiating
nice,
heat.
warm
I'm the
tree.
heat miser over here.
Yes. Why do you want to be the heat miser?
Well, it seems like a better alternative to the fucking cold miser. I get to pick who I am
The
if I'm
heat
going to be
miser
somebody
is like
terrible.
a little short squat guy. He's like wide. You want to be the heat miser instead?
I don't know, man. There's other guy looking like Jay Leno out there freezing people. I don't want that shit.
Well,
don't put
you.
that juju on me,
That's
Grandma.
you. You have a choice.
There's somebody in the chat called Christians Dr. Mamacita.
That's my favorite.
It says Chin says hi. He misses you guys. Oh man,
Hey, Chin.
it's so good. It's so good. Moving into things poker related, today is the final day of the Venom. We unfortunately do not have a sweat. Young Landon died in a very, very tragic way. He played 100 big blind pot with top pair on a 4-liner where he goes, I just didn't believe him, man. I just didn't believe it's hard to have a straight. Straights are hard to have. And I'm like, what did he have? You got a straight. It's like, well, maybe believe him next time.
Oh my god.
He's like, why is it that you're not allowed to believe people and it's just fine, but when I don't believe people, I'm a goddamn asshole? I go, because you're a slave to a machine and I'm a thinking human being who gets it wrong. And that's just it. That's the way it goes.
We should have had the meme on deck that I made. The
It's
argument
so good.
that you guys have every
It's so fitting.
day.
It really is so fitting. For any of you guys who have watched OC Choppers growing up, Paul and Paul Jr., the two bike fabricators, I, in this fantasy scenario that Melissa has dreamt up, am Paul Sr. with the long
Fu Manchu.
handlebar mustache, and Landon is young Paul Jr., who's a know-it-all hot shot, and they just continually argue back and forth until the decibel level reaches a point where no one can hear anything any longer.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much 80% of the interactions Landon and I have.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not angry.
No, but you guys just managed to have the same argument over and over.
Oh, it's not the same argument. It's always different.
Well, it's always a different hand, but the same premise of the argument.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm right, and he
Machine
thinks
likes
he's
my
right.
line.
Machine says good. Berkey says meh. And now we fight
Yes.
to the death.
Yep.
But yeah, it is one of those things where it's a competition for airtime. So we just continually get louder because that's the way we grew up. And that's how we learn to get our point across.
Yeah.
Imagine me having to shout over Lamanna my entire life.
Well, I think
it was
like
not
Landon's
easy.
naturally a loud speaker.
When he laughs, I think he thinks that nobody can hear him. And so he has to make it loud enough so that the entire village
It is
knows he
loud.
finds something funny.
It is loud.
It feels very contrived sometimes.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
It does sometimes.
I don't think it's contrived. I think it's genuine.
I don't think it is.
But man.
But it might be hammed up a little bit.
A little
sometimes.
bit. A little bit of performance art taking place
Little
here.
bit of a performer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe
the cadence is a little off. It's
a
a
hidden
ha,
music. Yeah. It is like
into the belly
right.
laugh.
Yeah. It's sort of a forced belly
Mm-hmm.
thing going on.
Yeah. Kind of like Conrad's laugh, only in the sense that Conrad's is very natural, but it's
Yeah.
not because something's funny. It's triggered by any moment of awkwardness.
Yes.
or any lapse of thought that he may
any
have.
silence.
Right. It's like, oh no, anticipating silence. Fill it with laughter.
He does find a lot of things funny.
Way too. This is coming from the biggest laugh whore I ever met in my life.
Laugh
That's
whore.
You are a laugh whore.
No, that's Randy.
No. Well, yes. But you two work in conjunction with one another. Lamanna, not
I tell
funny.
stupid jokes, and Randy's there to laugh at all my jokes. And like, why would I stop telling him?
All
This
these-
guy's dying. He's on the floor.
I mean,
Look
yeah.
how happy he
You
is.
gotta
Why
keep
would I
going,
stop
then.
making this kid happy?
All these dad
It
jokes
doesn't
that he
matter
has
that I'm
now.
making everybody else miserable.
All these dad jokes that he has now were his version of a rad joke back when we were 12 to 18.
Okay.
And no one laughed.
You called them rad jokes?
Don't say no, one. Don't
it's,
say no
it's
one.
retroactive. Nobody laughed except our friend Randy, and it was just because Randy wanted to fuck him.
No,
So in reality,
not true.
Well,
I mean, it might be true, but that's not why he laughed.
I think we need to get Randy to call in.
Randy's the best. We'll
He
see him
defend
next week.
himself.
Yeah, we'll see him next week.
Does he want to fuck Brian still?
We've been over. So full disclosure, like Randy was our gay friend growing up, but we didn't know until we were in college, and
He was our
retroactively. Well, how else do you want me to describe it?
It was just our friend who was gay.
I mean, what's the difference? Which order I put it in?
There's a difference.
There is.
Why is there a difference?
Well, because in one,
Trust me, there's a difference.
you're, I don't know.
Right. It's semantical.
It is. Yes, it is.
I'm trying to get across to you that the context here of Randy wanting to fuck Lamanna is that he's gay.
Right.
And that's just peachy dandy by us, as
Okay.
far as we're concerned.
Try reversing people of color and see where that gets you.
Well, okay. but
Yeah, that's
that-
fair.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
Fine. But honestly, I would make a strong argument that they're both like insensitive. Like, I feel like we landed on POC because someone along the line was just like, yeah, all right, fine. Like, that's the term we'll go with.
Yeah.
It'll be something else.
It's difficult to keep
in a
up with
few
political
years.
correctness. But anyway, once we all found out, retroactively, naturally, all our group wanted to know is who he wanted to fuck. Like, we don't care that he's gay. We want to know, what's the hierarchy here, man? Like, where are the crushes lying? And it's funny because our friend Skimpy, Scott, obviously with a nickname like Skimpy, how could he be desirable? He was like the most diligent in like trying to press Randy on like, what? Come on, man. Like, you have a crush on me, right? And like, Randy was like the most adamant of like, I would never fuck you.
Definitely not. Sorry, Skimpy, you were at the bottom of the
Who do you guys think would win in a boxing match between Landon and Chin?
So this is kind of funny. I would assume, well, here's two sides of the coin, right? First of all, Christian claims, quote unquote, he's got hands. So he
Okay.
claims experience in the fighting realm. Now I don't know. I've never
He
seen
does
him
physically
fight.
have hands.
I've never seen him fight. He looks like the kind of person
That
that I
kid
might.
has never been in a fight in his life.
He looks like someone I could topple over if I hit him correctly
There's-
in the like head area, like not even with a fist, but just like if I gave him a strong enough poke in the right spot, like he might just wobble back. It's all physics, Melissa. You know, you just have to
Are
find
you
the
saying
tipping
he's
point.
like a bowling ball?
I'm just
Or a
saying
bowling
that
pin?
yeah, kind of. A little bit, yeah. A little bit like a bowling pin, only with legs.
Okay.
Right? If I just find the right
Alright.
point.
This bowling pin with legs walking around with Chin's face on.
Teach your ass for fucking missing 3 weeks of the podcast.
That's right.
Now you're a bowling pin.
yeah.
Welcome to your new life. But he claims he has hands. So, like, according to Christian, he can scrap. All right. This is a thing. Now, Landon doesn't believe he can fight at all, but I see him all the time training with Shulman, doing a little bit of the boxing, doing a little bit of the kickboxing with Brandon Shaq Harris. Like, he's out there throwing it a little bit. And you know firsthand, living above the garage, he's beat that punching bag up a bit.
Yeah, well, he was doing the punching bag a lot at the beginning. I don't think he does it that much
It's
anymore.
broken now.
Punching bag's broken?
Yeah.
He broke it?
He broke it.
What's wrong with it?
It's
seems
ripped.
fine. Really?
Yeah. It's on its last legs. Now, where I
Thank
think
God.
Christian regains the edge is Landon yesterday, just joking around. Henry and Espen were over hanging out.
Yeah.
And just messing around the way young bucks do, trying to like, demonstrate their alphaness a little bit. He kind of gives Henry a little fake in the belly. Henry doesn't flinch. He's like Kobe whenever the like ball fake in his face and like just doesn't even blink. And without hesitation, Henry just goes, "Mate, you would get ruined."
Well, Henry was telling me he gets in fight. But they would be walking around at night, and he would get in fights with the groups of lads.
Sure.
Outside.
It's just a British thing.
Yeah. British guys fight.
Yeah.
Him and his
Landon buckled immediately. He was just like, "Oh yeah, like no, I'm just messing around," kind of thing. And he's just like doubling down, like ruined. So Landon's not looking for altercations, I don't think. But at the end of the day, like he has 6 inches in height on Chin. He's probably got like 10 inches in reach, maybe more.
You're forgetting about the third part of this scenario,
which is
Melissa. Didn't you say that you were involved in this too?
What?
No,
what do I
she
do
asked who could win in a fight, Christian versus Landon.
I thought you said you, Christian, or Landon.
Oh, we're gonna do a triangular fight.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought
she fights like Rudy fights. She'd just be biting ankles the whole fucking time.
I don't know, because she's scrappy.
Well, I would get scrappy. I would find ways to win.
Right.
Like she could just like run around them,
bite the ankle, go for the ball kick, poke in the eye with my nails, run away.
Right.
I win.
Get on the ground behind one of them and like pinch their Achilles tendon, just like drop them.
Flick over the bowling pin.
You gotta get more than a flick. It's more of a poke. It's like a hard
I
poke.
push the bowling pin over. I'll roll a ball at him. He knocks over. Landon, just get him to like confuse himself to his arms tie up in knots because they're so long, and he's just tied up in a knot somehow.
Man, I love this animation I've created where Christian's been gone long enough that he's now turned into the bowling pin. And that's not going anywhere, by the way. Like, I know how general themes work on this podcast. Mm-hmm. That's here to fucking stay.
I know. There's going to be photoshops of like Chin as a bowling pin.
Yes, I'm the tortoise, he's the bowling pin.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's just like we need to like find like a video of like a bowling pin being balanced on the tortoise.
See, and that's how I know that Melissa's terrible at talking shit on me, because the fucking freeze miser is never gonna stick.
The freeze miser.
Whatever. See, nobody can even get the ice miser, whatever.
Nobody. You're the one that can't get it right.
Yeah, it's just never sticking. But like the tortoise, the bowling pin, these guys are here to stay.
Rudy's back.
The 7-10 banana chin split.
It's like, what's the worst nickname, the tortoise or the bowling?
No, the tortoise is great.
I love the tortoise.
Who doesn't want to be the tortoise?
All right, the tortoise is great.
A little baby tortoise snacking on a piece of lettuce.
Connotation to it.
Well,
the tortoise sometimes wins tournaments.
It has an accurate connotation.
The tortoise won last night.
Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
He did. Congratulations. Thanks. You shipped the $5,500 guarantee on WSOP.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
$10 rebuy turbo.
Yeah. So first place is $100.
First place was $1,800.
$1,800.
That's a nice little score.
That's doubling your salary.
I know. Right. Jeez. Man,
they don't pay you
enough.
Not
show up for work for the rest of the month.
God bless. As long as you come for the podcast.
Oh man.
Yesterday, granted, he absolutely butchered your name, but Jamin commented on the podcast. He goes, "I hope you guys all know Lemana, Lemana."
That's not that bad. I've heard worse.
He goes,
literally, my football coach called me Lasagna for like literally the entire season.
Which one?
I'm like,
Cap or
no, Isherwood.
Oh yeah.
Like it was like it went from like
I was gonna say Cap was a relative.
Lasagna to lasagna. Like that was lasagna.
Well, I don't know how you even get to lasagna. Like that's just lasagna mispronounced.
I don't know. Lasagna. I don't know where the Z came from.
Oh, he's probably Polish. Doesn't want to acknowledge the Italian names.
Maybe.
I mean, we grew up in an area where you could only be one of 3 ethnicities.
Right. Yeah, it's true. You were Italian, you were Polish, or you're Slovakian.
Yeah, that's it.
Some were all 3.
Some were all 3.
Oh, man.
It actually probably wasn't that hard to be all 3. Speaking of winning tournaments, today's the last day of the Venom, as I mentioned 25 minutes ago. And I don't know who's at the final table because apparently ACR just doesn't advertise these things. But I do know that Amo Fauchot is 3 of 7. Mm-hmm. Andrew Moreno coming in to this final table looking for his 3rd 6-figure score this year alone.
Pretty crazy.
he won a $2,500 no limit deep stack
When was the millions that he won? Last year?
last year. So that would have been
Andrew Vibes, also known as Andrew Vibes.
Andrew Vibes, yeah. So last June was whenever he won the Win Million. Did he win it outright or did he chop? I think he chopped that one, right? Was that the one with Toby?
The millions?
Yeah. That was the one with Toby,
he
right?
The one with Toby, right?
Yeah, so they chopped it. I think they chopped it 3 ways, if I recall.
Yeah.
And then after that, he won outright a Venetian deep stack for $250,000. I remember him speaking out publicly that he did not want to chop that, like he refused to chop or something along those lines. Then he refused to chop again this past June at the Win $3,500 $3 million guarantee. Ended up taking second in that for $460K. So had a 7-figure score last year.
Yeah.
2 6-figure scores this year.
Yep.
To give you an idea of what all that means, he has $3.4 million in his Hendon Mob earnings, almost $2 million of which came in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
That's
pretty
strong.
insane.
Yeah, that is a heater, ladies and gentlemen.
So he was coached by Chris Brewer.
Yes.
He made a tweet that he started getting coached by him a little right before that heater started, basically.
Yeah. So here's the irony. Chris Brewer, excellent no limit hold'em player.
Yeah.
One of the best theory guys I know. Very intelligent, very, very good and talented at this game. He is on the verge of ending it all. He can't take it anymore.
Well, not his life.
His poker life.
Right.
He can't take it, and I don't blame him. Because here's the thing. I believe Brewer's study in college was either mathematics exactly or mathematic based. Like he may have been an engineer or something like that, but he has a deep understanding of math.
Yeah.
And he believes in the math.
Right.
He believes in science. He is an intellectual man who adheres to the scientific method and believes in empirical facts and things that can be tangibly proved.
So he's not into astrology?
He's not into astrology that I know of. Because of all that, he is absolutely going to get punished forever and be the example of what a bottom 5% run looks like.
Yeah.
And he has been thus far.
Yeah.
He bubbles everything important. He even when he wins, it's shrouded with controversy because his opponents just show them their hand and he's allowed to fold when they flop quads. Just all kinds of things that are negative for Brewer that aren't supposed to happen over the aggregate.
Right.
But in isolation, they happen all the time because that's how math works and he believes in the math. Moreno, on the other hand, is also a relatively intelligent individual. He's been grinding for years. He sought out Brewer, the math guy, to fill in the holes because you know what Moreno believes in? He believes in manifestation. And God damn it if he's not making it happen.
I mean, I'm sold.
We know.
So whatever he did, I'm in.
In this little thought experiment, I'm Brewer and you are Moreno. You are going to be 10 times as wealthy as me. I could say that
Let's go.
100% with truth.
Let's go. Come on, the boys. I'm ready. I'm in. I believe in magic. You know, I will sign whatever it is.
In all honesty, how many minutes of the day, and if it's more than 60, you can quantify in hours, how many minutes a day do you think you spend considering or thinking about like best case scenarios and things that you aspire for and want out of life?
Honestly, lately, like 0, and I have not been winning.
Right.
So, but I used to spend quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually not the best example of stuff like that because even though I talk a lot of game, I'm actually very negative internally.
Oh.
So.
Well, maybe you need to get that horoscope right.
I know. I need Matthew.
Yeah, clearly.
Stat. Because being around your negative numbery ass is bleeding into my subconscious.
It's not negative, it's
your
objective.
Your ice miser-ness is like...
this is the problem with believing in the math. It's not positive or negative. It's just objective.
Yeah, but it is negative if you're comparing it to the magic version.
You know what it's negative for? Is motivation.
Yeah. It is.
Like, it's really difficult for me to... I haven't played 1020 in... like with any level of volume since 2012. So for 10 years, I haven't played basically the second highest stake available in most states.
Because you started playing the big game in
2013, yeah. But the problem is, like, if you look at the hours I've logged over the last 10 years at high stakes, it pales by comparison to what I was able to put in at 1020. So I was probably averaging like 1,000 hours a year when I was playing 5, 10, 1020. And now I probably average like 400 or 500 hours a year.
Yeah.
Max. And it's a steady decline. Year over year, I'm able to play less and less volume.
Why do you not play that?
Because
anymore?
I can't justify the hourly. I can't justify making 10% of what I've been making in order to so basically I would be doubling somewhere between 2x and 4x the amount of volume that I previously put in in order to earn 1/10 the hourly.
I see.
And that just logically makes sense
Just
to
kick
me.
the game up.
Well, yeah, that's actually fair.
Straddle on.
You know?
No, that
It's
actually
really
is a fair
easy to
point.
kick those
Double board
games
bomb
up.
pots.
That actually is a fair point, but I'm kind of estimating that in what I think my hourly is, right? So because I don't think, basically in 2022, I don't think the best regs in like Bellagio 1020, 1020, 40 are making 10 to 14 big blinds per hour, right? Whereas in like 2010, that was very feasible. So if I'm assuming that I'm making 200 an hour at 1020, it's based off the fact that I think I'm playing.
You shouldn't go to the Bellagio 1020. You should go to the Resorts World 1020.
Fine, but then you don't get any volume in. But my whole point is, like, if I'm estimating that I'm making 200 an hour, which is 10 big blinds per hour, then I'm also estimating that that's a byproduct of me playing a bunch of 1020 40 and sometimes 1020 40 81 60 and, like, you know, cherry picking out or having the availability to play in some whaley lineups where, you know, your hourly is going to be 5x what it normally is, as opposed to like the all reg lineup where maybe you're making like $80 an hour, right? So you're kind of averaging it all out. Jesus Christ.
Look at
the
there he
abominable
is.
snowman's in there.
Did
There
you
he
just
is.
make this, Guapo?
That's unbelievable. Wow.
Like,
How
no
did you
way.
find
Literally,
that?
he just drew this.
No way a Google search
He
brought this
just
up.
drew this.
First of all, if I could be anybody in that image,
It's the
I'm
ice
Santa.
miser. No, you're not Santa.
I'm Santa.
No, he gives a lot of gifts out when
fucking
he's at the
Santa.
poker
You're the
table.
ice miser.
I'm fucking Santa in every aspect of what Santa is. Yes, am
In
I?
every aspect of what
Yes.
Santa is.
Do I have
you're
high expectations?
Jolly, ho ho ho.
I'm jolly and ho 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 and generous and giving. Do I have high expectation for my elves? Of course I do. Do I not let them become dentists? You're goddamn right.
No, that's you. That's you with the heat miser over there. Look, he's giving you his card.
The heat miser is gangster as fuck. I'm just saying. I'm Santa in this
You're
equation.
not Santa.
By the way, there were abominable snowmans in there.
What?
There were abominable snowmen.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Right. We were
Someone
just talking about
said
two different characters.
Someone said Santa's the fish.
He probably 100%. I'm a life fish for sure.
Santa's way too giving to be
Yes.
like sharp. Yeah.
That's me, Melissa.
Okay, but
This is my toxic trait.
yeah, but you're not jolly and ho ho ho.
My other toxic trait is actually believing in math.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. But your toxic trait is believing in astrology. So, like, where does it end?
Literally,
Yeah, I know.
like, Berkey's
Well,
the opposite of jolly and ho
spectrum.
ho ho. Like,
you
would
are
no one
literally
ever,
yeah.
I mean, his nickname's
Last
Eeyore.
Christmas, no one was
Right.
gonna do anything.
Yeah.
I cooked a little meal for everyone.
That's because I believe in math.
Maybe
That
inside.
has nothing to. That's not what Santa would say ever.
Look, Santa is put into a position where he has to bullshit his way
think
out
Santa
and say
believes in
manifestation
math?
is true, okay?
He has reindeer that fly him around.
Yeah, he has to.
It's
He has to
physically
sell the
impossible.
dream. He has to tell everybody that Christmas is real, even though he knows it's just some bullshitty thing that he made up to deliver
It's not
presents.
bullshit. He's
Wait,
flying
what?
around.
Sorry, tell the kids to tune out.
Man.
I'm Santa. God damn it.
Someone
Can't
asked if
grow-
I
I don't-
prefer bigger or average tendons.
You think I want to be Santa?
That's a lot. That's a.
I don't want to be Santa.
I
that's a
think you
burden.
do want to be Santa.
No, I want to be the miser.
lot of responsibility.
lot of responsibility, very little riches.
Lot of
You want to
reading.
be Santa because
lot
you
of
don't
letter
want to be
reading.
the ice miser.
I don't want to be the ice miser. You're right. It goes against my
Maybe
character.
I'll have the makeup artist do ice miser makeup.
I
for you.
don't. Look, you can do whatever you want, okay? I'm your blank canvas. I don't care.
I
Do your
can't wait
worst.
to ask him if he thinks you're Olive.
Do your worst. You know what? I don't care what he says. I just don't.
Because you know you're Olive.
I know I'm Olive deep down.
In
whether I present as
internally Olive.
Look, I
You
identify as
yeah,
Olive, okay? So, like,
I
whatever
mean-
you see as your reality, that's fine.
But don't invalidate mine as an
Yeah,
Olive
right.
person.
Don't shut me down when
Okay.
I know deep down
Okay.
inside I'm fucking Olive.
So on your license it says skin color olive.
Yeah, of course. We've dug in a little deeper to the Caucasian race,
Yeah.
and now we've segregated by
Olive.
red undertones, olive,
Of
et cetera, et
course,
cetera. Right.
It
Sicilian.
It wasn't specific enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gradient scale of
Right.
of Scandinavian, red, olive, Sicilian.
Okay, that's
Well,
fair.
I mean, like, Landon's undertones are beet red.
Yes, well he is, you know what? I didn't realize that he's like pretty ginger.
Yeah.
At
Minus
first I
the
just
red hairs,
sort of
but
thought
yeah.
he was like blonde, but then when
He just has fair skin.
Yeah, but he does have red undertones to his hair. I think
Well, everything.
I think genetically, like he probably does have like the ginger.
Yeah, I mean, if he
gene.
gets any sun at all, he just like looks like he's blushing.
Yeah, but
It
like
just
he doesn't
pulls it
really
out.
present that much as ginger. I think like he looks blonde to me, but
Yeah.
I think he is technically a ginger.
You're saying the carpet doesn't match the curtains.
I don't know. We've asked him that, and he's like, "I don't know, guys. I don't have hair down there."
What's a carpet?
But I think yeah.
I have Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0.
Yeah. I think he is ginger though.
Yeah, probably. It's funny. Every time I hear the blow dryer going, in my head, he's not actually like blow drying his hair. He's just awkwardly like blow drying and fluffing his pubes.
Why is that?
Because I don't know, man.
Why
It's
do you
just-
imagine
that
that?
image.
Because in my head-
Why
that's
are you
so
mad?
weird.
in my head, Landon's life is comparable to a scene out of American Pie. Like, I just envision.
I thought you were gonna say American
That's true.
Psycho.
No. And you know what? I have every right to believe this. Per usual.
Does that happen in American Pie?
No, but like awkward thing. Like he jerks off with glue.
Okay, yeah.
You know, like
the
just
pie thing.
Yeah, he fucks
Yeah.
he fucks a pie. Like there's
Yeah.
just like a lot of awkwardness to
Right.
being 18 to 22.
Yeah.
And you know, in my head, Landon fits that movie very well. And I know this is true because
Oh, man.
somehow, some way, this kid is negotiating prop bets again without anybody's consent. You know, I thought we put an end to this. Pads is the ultimate gaslighter too, by the
Oh,
way.
100%.
Like, I don't know what's
Pads
going
is-
on here.
What is he doing? This is a little sadistic.
I honestly don't know what's going on. He tweeted at me and said, like, it was within a thread also. And he basically just said, like, how much would it take to get you to stay in Bally's for 1 year, 365 days,
Yeah.
without leaving the building?
Yeah.
And I said, you know, like, I would probably start negotiations at 3 million. I assume this is just a hypothetical.
Right, of
Like, I would
course.
start negotiations with like 3 million and probably land at $1 million and say yes. But it might even be higher because I was like, you know, at 22, I would have probably done it for 200K because time isn't that important.
Yeah.
And money is very important.
Yeah.
But now money is a lot less important and time's much more important. So it's like, you have to change my life in some capacity.
Right.
And out of the blue, he just says, 100K. Okay. So we putting Landon in? And I just like don't reply and think that that's it, right? Somehow Landon starts negotiating. And then
Oh,
on top of
no.
it,
That's never good.
Pad starts telling people to DM me to put their hat in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, Berkey's DMs
How many
are open. They're
applications
always
have you
open.
gotten?
I only got 2 somehow.
Okay.
And it went on for like 2 days.
That was so funny when I saw it. I was like, yeah, sure, DM Berkey.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was hilarious.
It went on for like 2 days where he's just like, great idea, mate. DM Berkey. He's open. and so like both of these guys DM me and I'm just like, I'm not going to give this any attention. Not going to reply or anything like that. So after he tells the second guy to DM me, I just reply with, I'm going to fight you. And I put up a gif of this guy boxing a kangaroo. And so then I look back at the DMs and both of them reply with, oh, I guess I was getting trolled.
Oh, no.
It's like, yeah, man, there's no upside to me staking people to live in Bally.
I mean, it's like, honestly, I would bet against him if he was
Against
if
Landon?
If he's gonna end
No
up doing this.
way.
Is it a free
yeah,
roll?
I would.
It's a free
It's a
roll?
free roll, yeah.
Yeah, I would. You know why? Because he just is too social. Even though people can come to him,
No, he'll make this work so easily. Like,
I don't think so.
I think it's such a. First of all, I
he's
think
already so like money doesn't matter to me
Nah, it's starting to matter.
You think?
Yeah. He has to pay taxes. He learned a
I know
very
he does keep
expensive,
mentioning that.
a very
What's
expensive
going on with his
lesson in
taxes?
taxes.
He's stressed about his taxes.
Well, he just like ate the entire tax burden last year despite
Yeah, I
selling and
remember
stuff
that.
like that. So
Yeah.
like he owes a bunch and learned a very expensive lesson. But on top of that, his lab time would double, which he would be super excited for because
Sure.
he just wants to be the best ever.
Yeah.
His grind time on ignition would double
Sure. Yeah.
or at least go up.
Do you think he would get fat?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. So here's the thing that people aren't considering.
You could use the
gym
gym
there.
there.
Bally's is a resort.
Right.
Yeah.
You can live
Gym and a
okay.
spa.
Are
There's
you
a
allowed
gym?
to? Is
Right.
Paris included?
I would assume so
Who's
because
paying
almost all the restaurants are in
rooms?
Paris, but maybe not.
Well, it would be like I guess he would try and work something out with Bally's to get it comped.
Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
so do like some sort of promotion with them.
But
to
he
do
has
it.
to have slot playthrough,
Why?
right? He's paid in slot.
Oh, that was
pay.
a joke.
Oh, it was a joke.
Yeah, that was just him getting trolled
I
for
thought
the
that'd be
ignition
funny.
thing.
Imagine he just becomes like a huge slot degenerate.
He turns into.
I mean, he could just have Kessler
Yeah.
take him under his wing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
teach him the ways.
Yeah. He'll make another 250.
Yeah,
on top
makes
of
a
that.
$250,000 on top of the the prop bet.
I
I just
feel
think
like-
it's. I mean, a year is a long time.
Also, is he allowed to? I assume yes. Venture into Paris.
You almost
obviously-
have to
right, well-
because it makes no difference not letting him in
he'd
there.
have to play the World Series, he would need. To.
Right. Yeah. And the World Series is on the docket. I would do this like if there was a substantial enough amount of money involved. I would do this maybe not happily, but it would scratch the itch of me wanting to be on alone.
I don't even know that I would want to do this, to be honest. Even though I don't leave, the idea of not being able to leave drives me insane.
Yeah. So I think that there's like things that you can do to curb the fact that like you're kind of
Cabin
stuck.
fever.
Yeah. Like the spa is nice. So like you can literally get like weekly massages.
Right.
There's a pool. There's a hot tub. There's a gym. Like you can get into a very good routine.
Yeah.
Sauna, all that stuff. So that stuff's great. On top of that, like
about
I have
sunlight?
infinite. Well, so you're allowed to be on the balcony
That's it.
of whatever your room is, but also like I have infinite reward points. So what I would do is just like constantly treat myself getting upgraded to a suite. So maybe once a month, once a week,
Little
who knows?
staycation at your
Yeah, a little
hotel.
staycation
Yeah, okay.
in the Paris.
Bellagio
Just
for
a
about
year
a
is a
year.
lot.
Right.
Like even
Right.
when I had COVID, having to, even though I really like, I'm a homebody. Like I don't like to leave, but being forced to stay in and knowing that I cannot leave makes me like psychologically. It's not a nice.
you get locked
thing.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that there are still like certain hacks you could go through that would make it tolerable for the right amount of money.
Yeah.
Also,
Well,
like it
yeah.
would encourage me to like just start a game at Bally's
Right.
or Paris,
That's
whatever.
the move.
Yeah. Now you're just like running a live game 3-4 days
That's
a week.
the move for sure. Yeah.
But like for me personally, it would just be too inconvenient because I have too much opportunity cost lost by not being able to move. So not being able to travel would cost like a lot of business, not being able to film Poker Out Loud, not being able to attend academies, like would have to find a way to run them at Paris or Bally's. Like there would just be way too much business cost to doing
Right.
it. So it would have to be a very, very, very large number. But if I were Landon's age, I would do it for a working bankroll.
I would too.
Yeah.
Actually, my price would be lower than Landon.
Well, no, Landon's is too low.
What's his now?
I don't know if they've negotiated this, but the
100K
number getting
does
thrown
seem too
around
low.
is
That
100K,
seems
and that's too low.
Yeah.
Is there any possibility of this actually happening?
There's always a
I
possibility.
know there's always a possibility.
For sure, there's a
Is there a
possibility.
real legitimate possibility?
I think for sure there's a possibility at 100K.
You know what they should do is have him go against somebody and then like see who lasts the long like alone.
Yeah, like
But
alone.
not tell them when the
Yeah.
other
6
person's
people to
done.
do it.
The only problem is
Yes.
it's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like
They have to
getting
stay in the same room.
multiple rooms.
Nope, they get one room, 2 beds,
Yeah.
6 people.
No, because they need to not know when the other person quits.
Right. It's a war of attrition.
Oh, well, that'd be tough because
It'd be tough because they're on the same. Well, you could do it
Yeah.
at 2 different hotels.
Look who came to say hi.
Yes.
This
One
is
at
the
Bally's, one
nicest
at Paris,
dog
but Paris
I've
is
ever
nicer.
met.
No, because
Isn't he the
they
best?
could still run into each other there. So
Okay.
you would do it at like you would just have to find somebody who's like a cash player
Yeah.
so that the World Series wasn't a big deal
Do it like Aria.
or win.
Yeah.
Although that's pretty shitty that like you're getting like a nice resort.
I know.
Compared
Maybe
to,
we
like-
have to be MGM or something.
Well, you'd have to set them up so that they could play a reasonable cash game though.
Okay, Resorts World.
Oh, it's brand new.
Okay,
It's definitely a nice
something
property, right?
Shittier.
Maybe Bellagio would actually be the worst of the.
Bellagio might be.
Even though it's like still a pretty
Yeah,
nice
it's
place.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Venetian.
You could do like New York,
Okay.
and then allow them to play at like the Aria Bellagio properties, but they're not allowed to do anything else there. So like they can't go to the Aria Spa, they can't go to the Aria
Right.
Gym.
You could just go to the poker
Caesars.
room.
Yeah,
Maybe Caesars.
no, the poker room's like dead.
Yeah.
But like if you stay at New York, it's literally
You can walk
walk
indoors.
through
Right.
Park MGM and all that stuff to get there, so you never actually go outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. There's certainly content to be had there, but like this would have to be something like PokerGo decided to do
Yeah.
because the budget's like high, right? If you put up $100K prize pool to the winner, plus the cost, like just the cost alone.
I know the cost of living in a hotel for a
Right.
year is a lot.
Oh,
Yeah,
bills are
Unless
they would-
you have
expensive.
comps
Yeah, you're
already.
basically paying their living expenses for a year, which are probably going to be like $50K each, give or take, and you have to pay for either them to vlog it themselves or camera crews to like follow them. That's going to be some sort of overhead.
Yeah.
There would have to be some way to explore a final product, I guess. But yeah, I think if 100K is actually the number that they're negotiating, it's way too low. I think Landon should be in like the 250 range, and not budge very far off of that.
Yeah.
He's really got to start tapping me in for these negotiations, man.
Oh, it's brutal.
Wait, then Pads also puts me in on the hook for the fucking cost.
I know. He just
He's just
threw
out
that
of the
in
blue,
there.
like, yeah, sell for one,
Yeah,
we'll give you
Berkey will
25K.
put up 25K.
And then he's like, Bally's will give you 25K. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about,
Yeah,
man?
who's putting up the money?
Like, who are all these people just shelling out money, and why don't we know about it?
I don't know, but I mean, if they're gonna do that, I'll take some.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, maybe this is how Landon gets even versus Perkins.
Wrong, Rudy.
Asshole. Speaking of assholes, Hustler Casino pulled out the rug on their 250K guarantee. I'm saying they're assholes, but really, I don't know anything about anybody who runs Hustler. It's just this is kind of a bullshitty move in this industry, I would say. Like, this is going to bring on a lot of fucking
Yeah,
heat.
this never goes over well.
No, and honestly, like, we're seeing it manipulated more and more. We saw this happen this summer at MGM, where I think they either added a flight
Orleans
or added
was
a day.
doing it too.
Orleans actually just killed a guarantee, right? Or they lowered it. Is that what happened?
I think they
They
canceled.
canceled, right? Yeah,
their
they
tournament
canceled
series.
the tournament.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had one the main event, right? They canceled like the big,
yeah, they canceled
like
the
a
main
whatever it was supposed to be,
Right.
$1 million
400K
guarantee
or something.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the MGM one being less. They just did something to manipulate the guarantee. Oh, no, they did half a guarantee the day of. So prior to the event starting, I can't remember which event it was, but I think they halved it from 50K to 25K.
Yeah.
And then ended up going over the guarantee anyway.
Yeah.
It ended up hitting like 55K or something like that. But yeah, it's getting to a point now where this is kind of becoming commonplace, or at least a little bit too much so. And you know, the same thing always happens, right? People take to Twitter, they complain, they say like, this is egregious. Sean McCormick tweeted out with regard to guaranteed tournaments, if you put a big guarantee event on that you could potentially miss, place an entry threshold for the guarantee activation in the rules, which states the maximum loss the house is willing to take. It's not a perfect solution, but at least it's transparent to the players. I agree with him in both accounts that like that's not a perfect solution, as well as it's transparent, right? So at least if it's a 250K guarantee, and they're willing to take a bath for like, let's call it 50K. Maybe they set the line at like, okay, we need 400 players to at least even activate the guarantee. The problem with this is that people are playing under the assumption that the guarantee is going to come out.
Yeah.
Right?
That it's
and
already
now,
set.
Right. And now, like, so for everybody who played this event, they basically just like lost a ton of value. So The announcement from Hustler was, due to unexpected circumstances, we've decided to cancel our remaining dates for our tournament series and the $250K guarantee. We will still play day 2 for the players that have already qualified, and they'll be playing for the prize pool that currently exists. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused. Now, the two things here. The issue, first of all, with them just basically ending the guarantee and canceling the tournament series is that those people who did make it through to day 2 are now playing a very low value event as opposed to the high value event they thought they were getting. So they're probably playing for like, I don't know, 20% of the prize pool that they thought they were playing for, which is very insignificant. Particularly like if the buy-in is a high rake situation, right? Mm-hmm. And this is secondarily a byproduct of this like quantum type of series that became very popular in LA with Mo at the bike maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And what that tends to be is that they'll run, 10, 12, 14 starting days over the course of a month. And with the Quantum series specifically, what you could do is just buy directly into day 2, get 40 big blinds, and pay 5x the cost or something along those lines, 10x the cost, whatever. I'm not sure that that's what Hustler was doing. I don't think it was. But clearly they were running many starting flights based off the announcement that they're canceling future starting flights and the tournament will just play down to completion based off of however many flights have ran already. Now, not only is that a terrible look for the casino and an awful precedent to set for your consumer base because you're pretty much saying well, we're going to rake you to death and also just never give you an inch back.
Yeah.
But the unexpected circumstances that they're alluding to is the bike running Legends of Poker, which has been a tournament series for almost 20 years.
Right. So it's kind of like a little bit of a slap in the face.
Always at the end of August.
Yeah.
Now, they may not have ran it during COVID. I don't recall. I mean, I'm sure at least 2020 it didn't run. Don't know if they ran it last year or not. But also, how on earth is this unexpected?
Right.
This series has just existed since the birth of live tournaments.
Yeah. I mean, that seems just like the easy PR answer.
Yeah, and it's also you're in LA. You're not in this isn't WinStar in Oklahoma competing against.
Right.
I was literally thinking Oklahoma.
The funny part is I can't even think of their competitor. It's WinStar and Choctaw.
Choctaw. Yeah.
Right. It's not like these two are going head to head against one another for clientele. You're in the second largest metropolis in the entire United States. You're telling me the player pool isn't big enough to hit a $250K guarantee? This isn't a $5 million guarantee for a 1K.
Right.
This is a $250K guarantee for a small buy-in, relatively speaking. How many people did you actually even need? Mm-hmm. There are a million different ways that you could adjust for this. Add extra starting days if you have to. Even though I think that's shitty, we've accepted it. ACR just did it with the Venom.
I mean, yeah, it is shitty as well, and it's also frowned upon probably a little bit less than what they ended up doing, though.
For sure. There are things that we'll accept more than less, but here's the big problem is that we as a community will be absolutely outraged by this. We'll take to Twitter, we'll shout it from the top of our lungs and from all of the rooftops, and then the next time they put a tournament series on with a guarantee, everybody will just show up in droves.
Yes.
So it's if you're unwilling to stop frequenting the places that take advantage of you, then they are going to continue to take advantage of you.
Yeah, I mean, you have to vote with your dollar, kind of.
Right. And this is specifically aimed at the recreational and entry-level player, right? These places that are pulling out the rug on guarantees are not doing it for WPT main event 5 million guarantees. They're not doing it at the win for a 10 million guarantee, right? Party Poker in 2018 put on a $10 million guarantee 25K. And I remember the final day they were flying people in to play, to free roll them because they ended up missing the guarantee, I think, by 100,000.
Wow.
But they also,
how do you get on the list to be?
I think they're all Party Poker pros.
Called up to be for you.
There should be some sort of repercussion for these things. You shouldn't be allowed to use the word guarantee. If you use I think we've used the word guarantee in poker, especially obviously tournaments, for so long that it's like lost its meaning, right?
Well,
It's like, it's a guarantee. So like if you say something is a guarantee, then it needs to be
legally,
guaranteed
is
that
this
that's the prize
okay,
pool. And if it's
legally?
not, you shouldn't be allowed the next tournament you run to slap a guarantee on
Yeah.
it.
Well, of
You
course
should
it's
at
allowed. The's no SEC.
Right.
So
But is
Well,
it? But it could it be considered fraud?
It should
by
be.
who?
I don't know.
The law.
I mean,
No, I mean,
false advertising. I don't know how those laws work.
I don't know. I don't know enough how they work, but I know that
punishable or-
I know almost every one of these comes with an asterisk of
Yeah.
tournament is subject to change.
Yeah.
yeah.
Where,
But that's what
where-
I'm saying. We use
they
the
cover
word
their
guarantee
asses.
as thinking it means guarantee, which it clearly doesn't.
yeah, it's a suggested prize pool.
Right.
That's another marketing ploy that casinos used to use. Is they would say like, come play, the Borgata 500 Open prize pool in excess of 3 million.
Yeah.
And then there would be like a tiny little subnote at the bottom or footnote that would say based off of
this many players.
based off of like 1,000 entries
Uh-huh.
or something like that, where it wasn't actually a guarantee. But yeah, I mean, like in this instance, so a lot of this stems from online. Online, when you make a guarantee, you have no choice but to honor it
Right.
because the software won't let you change it.
Right.
And I don't know that it matters like from a licensing issue. I doubt that like the Indian gaming commissions that oversee a lot of the online, I doubt that they give a shit if you miss a guarantee and don't pay or anything along those lines.
Right.
But you would think gaming would be able to step in, at least in Nevada, whenever these types of things occur. So yeah, we as players can maybe put a little bit more pressure on gaming to up their standards because they're just prehistoric with the way that they approach poker. A casino could never put on a complimentary blackjack tournament with a guaranteed first prize and then day of just say like, we were kidding, we're not going to pay you.
Yeah.
No.
Right? Like they can't do that.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like, they use promotional chips, so it probably has something to do with that. But the whole point is that outside of Nevada, laws are very loose. Gaming regulations in California are largely just run by the tribes. And, they don't really oversee all that much. That's why live streams have absolutely no oversight whatsoever. There's no security measures that they have to adhere to. Anybody can pop up a stream in a licensed
the Wild
casino.
Wild West.
Yeah, Texas is even worse because they don't have a body at all, right? Like at least there is some sort of oversight in California from the casino regulation side. But in Texas, like it's literally just home games in the open out on the wild.
Right.
Speaking of Texas, so Polk put up a tweet that I didn't even know this was true. He should publicize this more for sure. It's just like good on his behalf. But when the Lodge ran their big event, either during the World Series or just prior, I think it was just prior, it was when Landon was there, got shit on in Houston. They missed their total guarantees by $625K, and they just ate it.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do when
Right.
you
Right.
guarantee
Exactly.
money
Right.
and your estimation was off, then
Right.
you eat it. That's why they're incentivized to guarantee something.
But
that they
honestly,
think will meet the
and I'm saying
guarantee.
this from somebody who believes in honor and integrity above all, especially above bottom line.
Right.
Doug's almost foolish for having eaten it.
Yeah.
He's getting Curry no favor
Right.
for being the guy who fell on the sword and actually posted the guarantee.
Yeah.
And if I recall, there was like during that time frame, there was a lot of blowback on the Lodge for their guarantees because I think he might have. I don't know if they added a day to an event that was like going to miss by a ton. Something happened where I think they were trying to negate the guarantees a little bit.
Right.
And people were up in arms about it. It's like they ended up eating over $500,000.
Yeah, I
no
don't-
casino's eating $500,000.
I was going to say, I don't know what their exact number was for they guaranteed, but $625,000 a month seems like a lot.
Well, it was spread out over multiple tournaments. Like basically
no.
every tournament had an overlay.
Right. Yeah. That still seems like a lot.
It's a ton. Venetian lays overlays $75K, and like suddenly they're dipping into promo dollars. And that's the other thing is that like casinos are set up to pay these guarantees. They have things like bad beat drops and all these promo dollars. That this is just a part of marketing.
Yeah.
So like yes, there should be some sort of attachment there. It should be absolutely forced.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you don't have WPT overseeing it, where their name is now involved,
Yeah.
these guarantees just are as good as the paper that they're written on.
Right.
It's like
They're
they do
IOUs.
everything that they
Yeah.
can to not put any of their dollars in all the community
Right.
money, and then when it doesn't work out, it's like, oh, we're not going to help you out.
Right. Like, I don't think people understand how scrutinized they are, even if they run a rake-free event. Right. So they say they miss $1 million guarantee by like 100K. Like, okay, well, they didn't actually miss. They just have to compensate the rake to their employees. So whatever, it's just written off as an expense, right? Like, you didn't come out of pocket. They get crucified for that by the upper management. You know, it's like, and what this should ultimately lead to is no guarantees, which is bad for everybody. Right, of course. It's bad for businesses, it's bad for the community at large, but
people want to see the guarantees.
Right, but
especially the recreational.
It's a good correction, because now if Hustler never runs a guaranteed event again, Hustler just won't get numbers for their tournaments, period. Right? And for whatever reason, LA struggles with MTTs. I'm not sure why, but that's a big reason why. Actually, I do have a good idea why. It's because of state tax, I would assume. They withhold 7%, which is just really difficult for anybody to justify traveling for. Right. Because then you have to fight. It's like a European coming to America. Right. Right? Like, if you just know that a big chunk's going to get withheld, that you're going to have to fight back to get.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
It's a pain in the ass. And that's like why the Quantum was born. Because they're just trying to give locals the ability to crank out enough volume to bloat prize pools. But like, all of California tournaments have fallen into steady decline for the last decade. We saw LAPC no longer be a WPT event, and it's tiny now. LAPC main 10K was like sub 200 people the last couple years as a non-WPT sanctioned event. Same thing with Bay 101. Although I still think that they got decent numbers. Poker in the Bay Area is a hotbed. Like, there's just something very special and romantic about poker up there.
About private cash games in the Bay Area.
Yeah, but more specifically, like Bay 101, that tournament where they used to invite like shooting stars and make them bounties. You've never seen anything like it. It's like watching the tag team event in the summer, only times 10. The rail is like 500 people deep.
Is that the outdoor one or no?
No.
That tournament was like you said, it was tag team, and it was
there's just so many fans.
People got hyped up for that every year.
People just wanted to come and get autographs from the shooting stars. Like, year after year, it was just, and I still think that it performs relatively well, but it's like the only event that runs in Bay all year long, right? The Thunder Valley 3500. So it used to be the California Swing. You used to go from LAPC to Bay 101 down to Thunder Valley thereafter. Yeah. That event, I don't think is WPT any longer. It's not very big. Yeah. It's kind of like one of those mid-stake tours now.
Like, there's a $15 million guarantee at the Win.
Right.
So they're just moving out of LA.
Well, that's my point, is that California itself can't seem to get reasonable prize pools for MTTs. Right. And it almost certainly has a correlation with state tax. Yeah. But the exact opposite is happening in Vegas. For the longest period of time, Vegas was a dead spot for MTTs. Venetian used to crush because they would put on those but the deep stacked events, and it gave locals a chance to put in MTT volume, whereas they had to travel 10 months out of the year otherwise, chasing 1500s all across the nation, right? Venetian kind of solved that problem, and then as they solved that problem, players like the Win, the WSOP, even Aria to a smaller degree, started to say like, oh, okay, this price point is very viable, we're going to get involved. And then, you know, Bellagio had still been running the 2 or 3 WPTs a year, but like we saw, so it used to be 3. It was Festo Alago, 5 Diamond, and then the Doyle Brunson Classic. Both Festo Alago and Doyle Brunson Classic fell off. You know, they just proved not to be a very great venue, especially once the Fontana Lounge closed. So now they were down to 1 event a year. The Venetian at that point didn't run any WPTs. The Win wasn't running any. Aria attempted to run the Bobby Baldwin Classic. It ran for 2 years, I think, and then died. So, you know, for a long time, Vegas was frozen. But post-pandemic, Vegas came back roaring, just ripping it, right? The Win found so much success putting on these big guarantees and hitting that mid-stake price point. The mid-stake poker tour started to do business with Venetian and really started to hit that $3,200 price point. We saw Bellagio hitting record numbers with 5 Diamond, even though, like, you know, I'd make a pretty strong argument that they do a kind of shitty job hosting a big scale tournament like that. They just don't have the space, right? They don't have the space or the resources. WSOP has grown year over year with the exception of the one COVID year. So it's like MTTs are big and booming. Why is the richest city in all of America suffering so much, right? Taxes. Has to be. I mean, it just had. Well, also maybe just kind of ineptness, right? Like, I don't frequent these casinos that much, but maybe they just don't have the capacity to run a good event.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I've only played Legends at the Bike once, I think. It was amazing. The event was incredible, but it's dead now. It went from a 10K to a 7,500 to a 5K. I don't even know what the fuck it is now. I don't think it's a WPT any longer.
Pretty interesting. I mean, do you think everyone just sort of switched to cash there?
I don't even know if it was a switching mechanism. I think the people who chased the WPT just stopped going to LA.
Yeah.
I think that it just became like I could go to LA in August or I could go to Barcelona.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I could go to LA in August or I could go to Choctaw 1 week later and just skip that trip.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to skip one, it's going to be that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it just became the most skippable trip.
Yeah.
Vegas got put on the map now for WPTs. There's 4 or 5 a year that are run here now. So the Venetian runs a 5K. The Wynn runs now this 15 million guarantee. Bellagio runs 5 Diamond.
Aria run one?
To win millions too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like WPT specifically.
Oh, just WPT.
Venetian actually might run 2. Was this past one? Yeah, it was a WPT this summer,
yeah, it was.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So they
5K.
run the summer one and then they run another one, I think in Marchish. So they run 2 WPTs a year, and I think that's it. But you might be right that Aria. I don't think they do anymore.
Maybe not.
It was the Bobby Baldwin Classic for 2 years, but I think.
Do you think that it's also like the fact that lodging is kind of expensive there has anything to do with it? Yeah, makes it more skippable.
Possibly. Hustler has no hotel on site. And the bikes hotel is very nice, but sells out rapidly.
People don't like going to Commerce.
And the same thing with Commerce. Whenever they did LAPC, it was very difficult to book a room at Commerce, and it was also the worst place on earth to stay.
Yeah.
Commerce is like a very hole in the ground type of part of LA. Like, it's not a nice place to be. So you kind of want to stay on site for that reason. But like Commerce Hotel is shit. And outside of the DoubleTree that's like a few blocks down the road, you just don't have any good options. You have like $50 a night La Quinta Inns.
Commerce was the best, the biggest place to run tournaments. They had the most space.
Right.
They could facilitate the biggest fields, but
but
it doesn't work if nobody wants to go there.
Right. And to be fair, the bike made over their hotel. It's beautiful now. So a lot of people going to LAPC would just stay at the bike and drive the 5 or 10 minutes, whatever. It's no big deal. But yeah, I think lodging has something to do with it. I think travel has a lot to do with it. They're not easy places to get to. They're not good cities to be in.
Right.
I can't think of too many other casinos that are in like dumpy parts of the city, with the exception of like Atlantic City.
Yeah, but
and even there, it's like you're in resorts.
Yeah.
You're not staying in a hotel. You're
You're
in a full-blown resort.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Borgata's beautiful.
Borgata's nice.
Yeah.
Borgata's real nice. Yeah.
When we first started going there, we couldn't even afford to stay.
Yeah.
Lamanna put me in like some fucking 24-hour hooker hotel.
Never let me live that one down.
Bro, they rented this room by the hour. For sure.
No.
Listen, it was we were just coming up. We had very limited bankrolls, and I was trying to save us some money.
I would rather stay in the Taj Mahal.
My dad used to go to the Taj every weekend. My parents were like separated, so my mom would. We didn't change houses. My mom would just come watch us on the weekends.
Right.
So my dad would then go to the Taj Mahal.
Like
play,
Rounders.
I think he would play 510 and stuff.
Yeah,
and
he's
just,
like Rounders. He'd
go to the Taj, and then he'd bring back like chocolate or whatever, because he was also like super into the high limit slots, so he always had the comps. And
oh man.
Yeah, the Taj. Not there anymore. I mean, half of Atlantic City is like a ghost town.
Is
now.
Oh,
the Taj not? It doesn't exist anymore.
No, 4 years ago maybe.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
gone. 85.
I don't know what this has to do with anything, but Vertucci tweeted at me and said, we have even discussed putting in our own money to some level. Again, our stream does not participate in any casino decisions. We are separate, but we understand the connection. We hope to find a solution. I lack the context to this because he just seems to tag me in another thread that already existed. But yeah, to be clear, I'm not like condemning Hustler Live.
Yeah,
This has nothing to do with Feldman.
Just, yeah.
Oh, no,
The
right,
stream has nothing to do with the tournament.
Right.
That the stream is only cash games. I figure most people know that.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's not clear. Maybe they're kind of under fire a little bit.
Oh.
Okay, here's the full thread. Hustler Casino Live wants to make something very clear. We agree with the seriousness of Hustler Casino's recent decision to cancel the $250K. We agree with the poker community's take on this. Oh my God, Bertucci doesn't know how to make threads. It's four separate tweets. God damn it.
Oh no.
We agree with the community's opinion on this situation. Feldman and I have a meeting set today to discuss this with management. We hope to come up with some resolve for this. We have even discussed putting in our own money to some level. Again, our stream does not participate in any casino decisions. We are separate, but we understand the connection. Hope to find a solution. Yeah, for what it's worth, Bertucci, like you would be Superman if you found a way to save this. But let's make something abundantly clear. Like you guys fronting the money by whatever amount they think they're going to miss by is only going to make you a hero to the casino.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
it shouldn't be their...
Yeah, this isn't your responsibility, and I don't think by any stretch of the imagination anybody expects...
I mean, the casino should be doing them favors because they have by far put that casino on the map.
Correct. Correct. 100%. It seems absolutely absurd for this to somehow fall on their shoulders. Like, it's funny, if Legends had... a guarantee attached to it, and then they canceled. I don't think anybody in a million years would condemn Live at the Bike.
Yeah, no.
But the reason is Bike was a long time standing brand prior to Live at the Bike, and it's also always been made abundantly clear that stream is very separate from the casino. Like they licensed the casino.
Yeah, this one is, I guess, a little harder to tell because it just says Hustler in big letters.
Right. Hustler was a big deal in the poker community, but like in the 90s and early 2000s when Larry Flint was like running a big stud game there, and it doesn't land with the No Limit community outside of the stream.
Yeah.
So I think people think that there's something very synonymous between the Hustler Casino live stream and Hustler Casino.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because they called it Hustler Casino Live instead of Hustler Live. Like, I don't know. Like, whatever.
I don't
know.
The whole point is... It's just the name.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, we get it, man. You're off the hook. You definitely don't have to put any money into this. Nobody's out here calling for your heads.
Also, when do we get to do our Solve for Why version of Hustler? When do we have our Solve for Why week?
Like Rampage week?
Yeah.
I don't know, but...
Get the Tortoise on there playing some 2550.
Let's go. Yeah.
Gotta get the Tortoise on
man.
there.
Oh man,
that sounds great.
I better watch that pads course.
I know. Oh man, give me a couple months.
You would have the sashimi single-digit VPIP. He's our sashimi.
Yeah, he is. He is our sashimi.
I'm only playing. It would be zero. I'm only playing in the big blind. If it folds.
You're only playing the big blind.
He's like refusing to do bomb pots.
Yeah.
Sitting out when it's his blinds, like ducking and coming back in behind.
None of this is true, by the way. I would be very.
You'd be in there. We saw you at the Poker Out Loud.
You would shit your pants playing 2550.
2550? No. Somebody else's money? Oh, my money, yeah, maybe.
I mean, you got to be a little bit on the hook.
Oh yeah, some skin in the game.
Yeah. So 5-10 for you.
Perfect.
Okay, 5-10.
Yeah, let's fire it up.
Shit your pants.
Well, because Berkey's going to be over there kicking it up to fucking 5-10, 20, 40, 60, 180.
Lamanna was the guy that
120.
Shortly after I stopped backing him, I can't remember if you were on your own or if you had found action elsewhere, but shortly after I had stopped backing him and he was on a pretty big downer, he starts playing 2-5 around town. Mm-hmm. And he's just grinding all over, chasing the game.
You were backing him?
For a period of time, and then I ended up dropping him and Brandon because I went broke.
Okay.
And I remember coming over his place, and
I already know what he's gonna say.
He was really on it, chasing the game, going to the Sun Coast, going to Red Rock, going to all around town, Venetia, wherever the best game was.
Grinder.
Yeah, if Lamanna was in a game, it was the best game in town for sure. And he was doing well. He was probably making I don't know, $10K a month.
Yeah, that's
give or take. Good. But he was getting half of it or whatever, right? And we were just talking, and he's telling me how figured it out he has it and everything else. I'm like, yeah, that's great, whatever. He goes, I legit don't even want to play 510 ever again. Like, I don't ever want to move up in stakes. I'm just at my comfort level.
Yeah.
And a part of me died. I was just like,
Well, I think
man.
that's a thing. I mean,
I was so naive at the time too, and yeah, for sure.
Thing. I mean, people do that.
I started the countdown clock on his career that day.
Not everyone has to be
career is
constantly
being
trying
revived.
to move up to the highest stakes. There are
No,
people,
you do though.
Well, there are people who have played the lowest stakes.
The
for
thing
their
is,
whole
like
career.
at the time, like I struggled at 510.
right?
Right, and I wasn't winning, and then I moved to 2.5, and I
It
just
felt really
was
easy,
crushing.
yeah.
So it was just like I was like, why do I want to like move up and lose? I can just stay here and just.
Also, the
That's what
philosophy.
it felt like at the time. Obviously, that's very flawed logic, and it's like, okay, just get better, and then you can make more money.
Well, the other
Yeah.
philosophy was that like there will always be a game soft enough for me to beat at certain stake levels.
Exactly.
Right.
But like what's what's
You have
overlooked
to
there?
Keep up. Yeah.
Well, just what's overlooked is that your cost of living increases as you get older,
Of course.
Right.
year over year.
Yeah.
So it's just like whatever you deem to be a comfortable living now will not be a comfortable living 5 years
Yeah.
from now. And if your idea is that like you're good, you've hit the pinnacle, then I hope you have other like I'm not kidding. Like I legitimately
Yeah.
started the countdown clock for like his retirement
said
that day. I was just like,
He
Was
showed
it
it to me every
accurate?
day. He's like, "Hey, look, you got 3 weeks left."
Because I
Better do
noticed
something.
this like it's not, it was something sort of that was a new, because I like started in online MTTs where everyone's trying to like move up, that's like you just want to move up, but when I started playing live cash, I realized that there's people like who are really comfortable at their stakes, even if it's like when I was playing like 1-3 at MGM, where there's people who have been spending like 14, 15 years playing those stakes and then just sort of grinding out promotions and stuff. And they're perfectly happy doing that. But that was sort of a new thing for me to see, because I always just assumed everyone was trying
Just
to
trying to
move
play
up.
the highest
Yeah, just trying to play as high as they could. Well, partially for rake reasons when it comes to cash, but also just for the accomplishment and but there is sometimes I think people, especially like 510, if that's like a comfort level for someone, they can definitely exist off that for a long time.
Yeah.
yeah, for a long time, not forever. That's kind of the
But
bigger
what if they
issue.
like invest it wisely?
Sure, but two things are certain to be true. One, your cost of living will increase by some amount year over year.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be significant, but like just with inflation alone,
Yeah.
it'll increase. And then two, your win rate is certain to decrease year over
right?
year.
Unless you're working on it.
Even if you're working on it,
returns.
even if you're working on it, just the
Yeah.
nature of poker is that the elite, the absolute greatest player we've ever seen, will have a lower win rate today than he had yesterday.
That's true, yeah.
It's just the nature of us all converging on zero,
Right.
right? So if those two things hold true, then the only thing that we can control in order to ensure that we're able to get by is the stake level that we play.
And I feel like there is like 10-20 would be like, there's a lot of people that just play 10-20 and don't move up, right?
Well,
Like-
it's hard because
Kind of
the
hard
gap,
to find higher.
Yeah.
like
or
now,
open games.
now anything bigger than 10-20 just becomes private.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
honestly, like this is something
So
I'm
there's
really
nowhere to go.
Yeah, this is something I'm greatly struggling with now, where it's difficult to figure out what the next move is. Like at 40, I don't feel like I've aged out of poker, but at 40, I feel like I've outgrown my earning potential within this game. And that largely goes hand in hand with the fact that my availability to high stakes game decreases year over year.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
Nope.
Time to start a weekly game here.
So if you guys want to play 100, 200, no limit.
Grinder.
Yeah.
Time to play all the tournaments, Burke.
Yeah, well, so I thought about that too, and that was my initial instinct was, okay, like I guess now we just have to commit fully to MTTs. But this is where, again, being the math guy hurts you. Like
Yeah.
once you start looking at
And your
your hourly
The hourly
Yeah.
is
and the availability
painful.
to play like relatively high,
Yeah.
you just don't, like my earn just gets cut, it's slashed by such a large number that it's just like I really should try to become proficient at something else with
right.
a higher
It's
ceiling.
just like not very motivating when you think about it like
it's
that.
it's not motivating, number one. Number two, it's not plausible for me to just believe that in short order I'll start playing 25Ks plus.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that it's impossible, and it's not even that it's improbable. It's just more so that I've curated my skill set around playing deep stack my entire career. So I have to learn a whole new skill set, which is possible.
To play with the best in the world.
To play with the absolute best in the world who've been studying it for as long as I've been studying
and
deep
eke
stat.
out,
Right.
0.5%
Exactly. So now it's like the margins are low. It requires a lot of funding, which means that I'm going to have to either acquire backing or sell a ton. And now it's like when you look at it of like, okay, you're playing the stiffest competition with your ABI being like 5K maybe.
Yeah.
Instead of 25K or 50K or whatever the case may be. Your expectation might only be to make like 200,000 a year. It's like, holy shit. I could do that playing like 510 maybe.
Yeah.
Or 1020.
You definitely could. 510, 1020. I mean, those games get big, and 1020 is usually like uncapped in a lot of places.
You have to put in a lot of hustle though. Way more than when I was coming up.
Yeah.
You have to grind lists. You have to go. You have to travel more.
You gotta be really charming.
I moved to Vegas to not have to travel to play cash.
Yeah.
Ever. And it's like, if you want to play 1020 plus, you have to do a fair amount of traveling. And not even like simple travel, like I'll just chase the tournaments. It's not like, oh, Florida's having a big event, I should go there so I can play some good 25-50.
It's like I have to travel, but also I probably won't have a starting seat, but maybe I will.
Yes.
But maybe the game's full, or maybe someone else is flying in instead
Right.
of me who's ahead of me. Like a whole thing.
Yeah. It's Hustler's running a 25-50 and has a feeder game. If I show up on Tuesday at 1 p.m., maybe I can get into the feeder game
For a few hours.
for 6 hours at most, turn around, fly back. Right? It's just a lot of that sort of hustle.
And then by then, like the spots in the game are gone, and then it's like, okay, then I'm sort of reg battling, and it's like,
and that's
my
okay.
hourly's not that worth it.
Like I'm to a point where like reg battling is not something that's going to dissuade me, right? Like I need to get in volume. So like if it's 100, 200 reg battling, so be it.
Yeah.
The challenge becomes twofold. It's one, having liquidity on the road. That's so fucking tough. Like getting invited to a 200, 400 game across the country and then having, because no matter how much you send, you're going to have a fixed amount of buy-ins, right? Whereas like if you're here, you just have your whole bankroll available at all times.
Yeah.
So that's an issue, number one. And then number two, all of the inconvenience that you're talking about, the expense of traveling, the not being guaranteed a seat, all of the politics that come into place where it's like you set aside a day or two in order to seize this opportunity that ultimately fell through.
Yeah.
It just happens all the time. And, you're doing it to eke out a living that's, again, 20% less than what you were earning last year.
Yeah.
And 50% less of what you were earning 5 or 6 years ago. So it's just like, I love this game with my heart, and I never want to stop playing it. But I'm excited to get to a point where I'm the recreational that just gets to cherry pick 10 games a year.
Yeah.
And, win or lose $500,000. Right. And just call it, because I'm making a bunch of money elsewhere. And I hate to push that reality onto the audience, because I think what gets heard is that like poker's dead, poker dream is dead, don't chase it. But that's not what I'm saying at all. We're in two different places. Yeah,
well, I mean, for the type of money you're looking for, like it is sort of very hard. But I think for a lot of people, making $100K a year is a lot.
Correct.
And they would love
very
to
feasible.
do that. And you can definitely do that in open games.
For sure. You could do it in a million different spaces. You could do it on WSOP.com.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's certainly feasible. Like, but if you want your floor to be somewhere in the 750 to $1 million range, which is what as a high stakes player you kind of grow accustomed to, well then it's going to be pretty fucking impossible to scale that back.
Yeah.
And it's also very hard to scale it up, because if you are capable of that sort of return, you lose a lot of opportunities. People don't want the guy who's consistently making 7 figures off of their game. Unless he's the runner and is doing it through like and honestly, like a lot of the sharpest guys that are my age, they're not the best player in the game.
They're running.
They're the guys who are hosting the game.
Yeah, I mean, you make a lot.
Yeah.
And you always are insured a seat.
JRB kind of set the model. And I honestly didn't have the foresight that I think a lot of other people did. When JRB was like the host in town, he was the poker host and he was the guy to go to, and there were no others. And the competition got stiff. There are like 5 to 10 poker hosts now that are running games from 25-50 up, and they are all way more cutthroat than JRB was in his heyday. JRB had the luxury of running the biggest game in America, and that in and of itself cut out 99% of people that would drool at the opportunity to play.
Right.
So like he didn't have to run through the filter. a lot of these other guys now that are running from the 25, 50 to 100, 200, 200, 400 level, everybody has access. Money is not a problem.
Yeah.
And so now you have to start making these sweeping protocols where it's just like nobody with this amount of experience will ever play this game.
Yeah.
And you start shutting out people that are potentially very fucking good for the game because they still adhere to the pro label or they're a winning player or whatever the case may be, right? It's just like it's a tough ask for both the players and the runners. And that's kind of my fear moving forward is that like the ceiling in the game kind of keeps collapsing in on itself.
Yeah.
But to your point, the median stays the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like, it's like if you're looking to make $1 million a year, it's going to be very hard. But if you're looking to make $100K a year, it's so doable.
Yep. Yeah.
So
And
it's just
honestly,
about
like
your
even $1 million a year
expectations.
as being like one of the best is very feasible as an MTT player.
For sure, yeah.
More so than a cash game player, I think.
Yeah.
I think $1 million a year for a cash player is much harder in 2022 than it was in 2012. And I think $1 million a year as a tournament player is much more feasible as an MTT player in 2022
Right.
than it was in 2012.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. There's way more high rollers now.
I feel like there's a lot of like really good MTT players who don't move up to the high stakes and they play like the mid.
Oh yeah,
mid,
Darren Elias is a good example.
Right, and they just crush.
Yeah.
Right, they just crush these like mid to higher stakes, but not like
Not super
the
high,
super
yeah.
high. Yeah, exactly. So they're playing like 1Ks up to like 10Ks.
Yeah.
But
Anywhere-
they're happy with their cap. Right? They know
No,
that
right, of course.
they know that on average they'll make like 300K a year and their ceiling
Right, they're
is
completely
like
content.
yeah, and their ceiling
right.
is like maybe some off years they'll make like 1.2, 1.3 and some down years they'll make like minus 100, minus 200, something like that,
Yeah.
right? They're okay with that standard deviation and they should be. That's a
And the
fucking
action
great
is
life.
good. The ecosystem is really good right now.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah,
so-
agreed. Yeah, I mean, think about like 2014, 15, 16. Mercier won $1 million all 3 years in a row, and that was like a massive feat
Yeah.
back then.
Right, because there were
To have $1 million in
25Ks
cashes
everywhere, 50K, 100Ks.
Right. To have $1 million in cashes 3 years in a row was a tremendous feat as an MTT player. Now the average buy-in of like a mid to high stakes reg is $1 million a year. So like obviously they're gonna have an ROI, so they're gonna be cashing for more than that. And it's just like how far we've come. I remember around that time frame, Daniel put out his schedule, and his total buy-ins were like $250,000, and like that was massive.
Right.
We were just like, wow, could you imagine
Like
being
how-
able to afford
yeah,
$250,000 in buy-ins?
Yeah.
He played at 250K at the World Series this year.
Twice.
Twice. Literally in a day,
$500,000.
he doubled his buy-ins of 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever. So like, yeah, times have really changed.
Well, Jason would just enter a 10K that had 700 people in it and just win it.
All the time.
All the time. Or once in a while he gets second or third, but usually he just win it. And it's just like
Was he believing in math or magic?
Oh,
Jesus.
magic, baby. He had
That's what I'm
Jesus
saying.
on his shoulder.
I am cutting out anyone who is like, the math says this. Sorry, I'm deaf.
You know what? I
I'm
envy
all
you.
magic.
I envy you because in spite of the fact that I studied math deeply in college, my young brain very much allowed me to turn that part off when I
Yeah.
got into poker.
Yeah.
And even though like my subconscious was just like part of what gave me this loose image and being so sticky and like why people thought I was awful for such a long time is because facing reasonable or small size bets, I just
Yeah.
didn't fold.
Right.
So like I would show up on river
Yeah.
with like a hand that was 10 high
That's
on the
pretty
flop,
relatable.
like no pair, no draw, and I got to the river and backdoor to straight.
Right.
And they couldn't believe it because they checked min raised me on the flop. And it's like, well, what did you want me to
Well,
do?
you gave me infinite odds.
they're like, fold. You had 10 high. It's like, yeah, but like you min raised. What could you
like
have?
You gave
Fuck
me
you.
like 10 to 1. Like,
Right.
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, it's like, what am I? So like, I understood subconsciously, I understood the math
Yeah.
very well, but my logic or my conscious brain just said, we believe that
We
we
will get
can
there.
control this spot.
We
yeah.
are getting there this
yeah,
time.
like he fucked up
Well,
and
sometimes
min raised
you
me.
just like you've seen a spot so many times and you're like, I know how this story plays out. this isn't going to end well for them.
Berkey, you willed the card.
And then you just
this is a
pile
high
the
roller.
money in because it's coming.
Right. You would, I would just believe in being able to control.
That was the best part of Dead Money. Is the part he's sitting there and you're all in with a flush draw, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, they had to get all the camera crew over. They had to like wait. So he's like, I had all this time to just will the card to come, to will it, and you willed it. You willed it.
You found it. Well, so
he did will the card.
Landon and Chewy call that
Bang.
finding it a flush on the blockchain.
Mm.
You found
Okay.
it in the blockchain.
Found it.
Or the matrix.
Exactly.
I checked jam 10-9 of hearts on ace 6-6 king 2 hearts, big blind versus button versus Coleman, which is funny because then it was perceived to be a wildly spewy, awful play. Like I checked jam for like pot.
With the flush draw.
With,
And that was
with a
considered
10 high
bad
flush
then?
draw. It was very bad.
Wow.
On ace king 6-6, like terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. But now it's just correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't call with 10 high.
Yeah, it's just what you do. And I could be getting it wrong in the sense that I may have 3-bet out of the blinds with 10-9 suited, which again back then thought to be awful,
Yep.
Right.
but now obviously very
fine.
accepted.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then what I did was barrel shove for like pot. But either way, it's just the way the hand is meant to be played. And it took them no less than 3 minutes to get the entire camera crew over there, set up the shots, like get both of us framed up, and the whole time I'm just willing the heart.
So what was going on internally?
I'm just going heart, heart, heart.
I do that too.
And it was the ace 6 of hearts on the board. The king of hearts hits the river.
Yeah.
So it's ace 6-6 king,
Yep.
king, and he has ace jack. And I think I lose. So I kind of nit roll him, even though the card's already up. And I'm kind of just like, nice hand. But like I played it off as like a good game afterward
Yep.
because I realized, oh, he has 3 pair, not the full house. Ship me the cookies here.
So he manifested it, and then he went on to have the biggest score of his career.
Yeah, and I stopped manifesting on day 3, and I went from
See?
chip leader to like
Then
bottom 5 in
then
chips.
you're like, all right,
Right.
this is serious. I need to think about
So-
the math.
Yeah,
Deep
day
down
3.
And it ruined
inside, he
it,
believes
right?
in the magic and the universe.
Everyone does.
Manifest-
Meeting
Deep down.
Landon killed my inner.
Turned you into a robot.
Yeah, meeting Landon absolutely destroyed my inner magician.
I have to connect to the magician.
Yeah, you know what? I need to be one with the earth. This is-
Yeah, I
need
mean,
to
I really
reconnect.
think that
Go on a
Matthew, maybe we'll bring Matthew on the day you get your makeup
No,
done.
no, fuck this guy. Look,
much.
you're going too far.
too much?
You're going
Okay.
too far. I'm going to call Chewy immediately after this podcast.
I mean,
I am going to ask him to be one with me in the
I'm
nature.
not saying luck is a skill, but luck is a skill.
I'm with you. I'm with
Yeah.
you. And I think Chewy is he's my shaman.
Yeah.
That's the shaman I'm looking for. He's kind, he's empathetic, he's understanding. He will sit with me in the woods and make friends with the squirrels.
Yep.
We will connect with
Guys
Mother
will do
Earth.
some mushrooms together, maybe microdose.
Look,
microdose.
I'll be living off the land. If he accidentally feeds me
little,
psilocybin,
little
so be
dusting.
it. There's nothing I can do about it. Like,
I saw.
I'm just trying to eat forest mushrooms,
I forget
whatever.
what it was. Maybe an old WPT or something that Chewy was. It was when he had the beard.
Oh yeah.
He was so zen. He was absolutely vacuuming every single pot.
Yeah.
He was just
It was 5
mashing
diamonds.
flops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. And
Yep.
he's just every flop was his.
Yeah.
Just vacuuming.
I had that.
That is him in the Matrix.
I had that for like a 5-year stint. Just playing high stakes cash where I couldn't help but flop top pair, and the only way I got fucked is if they had a better kicker.
Exactly.
And that was it. And
Yeah.
my torture,
Like
my
they're
literal
never
torture.
flopping a set on your top pair.
No,
ever.
yeah. My literal torture was trying to explain to my backing crew how I just couldn't get away from 2 pair in a spot where I knew he had a set on like a dry board.
Yeah.
It's just like king 8 deuce and I have king 8 suited. I'm just like, look, like I know, yeah, he only has deuces there. He just only has deuces. I'm trying to explain like, but I have king 8 because I let the math take over. I went back to combinatorics. I'm like, look, how many sets can he have here? Like sometimes he has king queen,
But the
sometimes he has
magic
king.
part would say, but I'm turning an 8.
Right. Well, I gave up on that.
So it doesn't matter that he has
Right.
deuces.
When you start winning too much, you forget about the
I
magic.
know, you really
just
do.
expect it.
You're like, I'm just gonna get there anyway. So
right.
who
And then the
cares?
magic comes back to correct you, and you flop set over set on the bad side.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're just like, fuck.
You're like, wow, I'm
Like-
running so good when you flop the set, and then
Right.
it's just like,
Right, when
oh
he was
wait.
all in with that flush draw, that was
Fuck.
the biggest moment of his poker career at the time. Probably pretty close. I mean, outside of the cash game. I mean, you've earned some big cash.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
I probably played like $10 million pots at that point.
Yeah. Well, besides
If tournament-wise, it felt big.
besides those $10 million pots.
The Hummel 2 out of me was the biggest moment of my poker career at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, your point.
Well, my point is, when it means so much, that's when the manifestation takes.
Yeah, I'm dead inside now.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, is that I stopped believing in the ability to continually vertically scale.
Climb.
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, well, like this is it. All I could do now is harm my bottom line by challenging myself in tougher pools. And I don't have any ego about this. I don't care.
Right.
Like, if we're all losing to the robot anyway, I don't give a shit where I fall on the spectrum.
If the best outcome is break even against the robot.
Yeah, it's like, I don't give a shit where I fall on the spectrum of how bad I'm losing to the bot.
Yeah.
All I give a shit about is how good I am in the pool that I play.
Right.
I want to
Well,
be the best in the pool that I choose to play. And once that pool got shallow and it became clear that like it's not going to be easy to move up vertically any longer, like you're not going to be playing 1K, 2K ever again. That's so hard to say and like actually understand. I played that game regularly.
Yeah.
For years. I will never play 1K, 2K again in the rest of my life.
Maybe.
You don't know that.
It's almost a certain guarantee.
Maybe.
Maybe you should manifest it.
I mean, you're not manifesting it, which is the real reason why
You should
it's not gonna
manifest that
happen.
game.
I believe in the math now. I need to be
Stop
deprogrammed.
believing. Do you want to be poor? Like, stop believing in math.
Deep down, I want to be poor.
Yeah. So
down, I definitely wanna
That's
be
the
poor.
problem. It's a subconscious root.
Elliot and I worked on this for like 2 years, where we both concluded that like deep down, I set a price for what I think I'm worth, and it's way lower.
I think
Sabotage
I do
yourself.
that too, and it keeps getting lower and lower, and until I'm gonna literally be paying. I'm gonna be paying for just to work.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't
Please
get
hire
lower
me.
for
I'll
me.
pay you.
It didn't get
Come
lower for
on.
me. It got higher as I got more successful,
Right.
but it didn't grow exponentially.
Oh,
So it
okay.
didn't grow in accordance to the stakes I was playing.
Yeah, you're plateaued.
So like $1 million was a really difficult plateau for me to get over. And then once that dam broke, it just kind of became a thing of like, okay, well, I'll always just be comfortable from here on out. So I won't even consider like the next point of self-sabotage. But for sure, based off of how like the last 5 years have gone, I'm allergic to 10 million. Like I just like, maybe I'm allergic to 5 million. Like I won't even let myself get close to these types of numbers. I'll even, no matter how much crypto wants to let me try,
I was going to say,
I'll find a way to like punt off all the coins at the fucking bottom.
It's so crazy. Like the subconscious is so fucked up. How do you fix that?
I don't know. I think.
What did Elliot Rowe tell you?
I mean, we worked on it a lot, and honestly, like I think my self-sabotage diminished to almost zero, but it's an ongoing thing. Like,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think,
a super self-sabotager.
yeah, I think you go through stages. Like I think turning 40 led to me redeveloping other levels of self-sabotage.
Yeah.
But probably less monetarily speaking, and more like developing through my personality or in relationships or whatever. Like you just start to become apathetic to different things, and that apathy sabotages you in a way that like you could
Definitely.
never expect.
Yeah.
And I think like throughout my life, there's always been points of apathy. It's just around something different at each point, right? Like I'm much more apathetic to money now. So somehow that leads to self-sabotage in relationships. Where like in my 20s, I was very apathetic to relationships. I wasn't even interested in dating. And that led to like self-sabotage in money. You know what I mean? Like there's some sort of like negative, positive
Like you
correlation.
were sort of like, there was no balance there. So you're just like all trying to grind the money to the point where it sort of sabotaged it.
Yeah, where it's like I would put up barriers so that I continued that path and didn't actually have to address the thing that I'm ignoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. We're wired
It's weird.
simply.
Yeah. The brain is weird. It makes us do weird stuff.
It does. We've been going on too long. I have a 2:00 meeting that I'm now 10 minutes late for.
it's like it's
I appreciate you guys as always for watching today. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how you self-sabotage
Yeah.
in the comments below.
We all do it.
We're here for it. Maybe we'll pick up this conversation tomorrow because I do enjoy
think
where
it's- Yeah.
I kind of wanted to end the show like 30 minutes ago, but I enjoyed the way the conversation was
I
steering.
think it's a good conversation to have.
So hopefully you guys got a little bit out of it. It'll be me, Brian, and Melissa again for the rest of the week.
And
And Rudy.
Rudy. Look,
And
he's
Woody.
sleeping on that chair.
What a
He's
good
such an angel.
boy.
He hasn't moved.
He's
What
a
a
sweet
good boy.
He's
We didn't hear a
just
peep out of
snoozing.
him
He's a
the
sweet
entire
boy.
time.
What a cutie.
Thank you, Rudy.
He's a licker too. You go to pet him and he just licks you clean. We'll see you guys again tomorrow, noonish Pacific. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're out.
Peace.